Welcome back to Tailgate Talks. I am Dr. Kacie McCarthy, cow-calf specialist based in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm happy to join you all today to talk about body condition score. Now, body condition score is a measure of the relative fatness on our females. And so this is generally a 9-point scale scoring system, with 1 being our thin, more maybe emaciated females, and 9 being that fatter, more fleshy female. What we generally like to target are our mature female cows being around that body condition score 5. With our younger heifers and 2 to 3 year old cows moving up into that 6 body condition score range to allow for that growth potential and ultimately help with those nutritional demands related to lactation that she's going to be utilizing after calving. And so when we think about our body condition scoring system, what we really like to look at in our females and even our bulls and other cattle that we're looking at for condition scoring is really starting with some of the basic points that we like to identify. And so that first point is going to be our rib cover. And so what we really like to see is that flesh cover over the ribs and really identifying those last 12th and 13th ribs. Then we start moving back from the head towards the tail of our animal, where we're looking at those pins and hooks and pins. And so what that area is going to tell us is relative fatness over the hind end, moving lower into the back end, and then ultimately looking at that tail head as another sign of fat reserves. Now, when we start moving into our upper threshold of our condition scores, being our 6s, 7s, 8s, and 9s, then we start to see more condition following our brisket area, more over that top line of the animal, and then really having a lot more fat accumulating over that tail head. And so these are really good points to identify when we're looking at females and our other livestock. And so getting the opportunity to actually get a hand on our animals can really help us identify that range in our cattle and be able to think about management strategies and when we can actually start making decisions relative to body condition. And so when we are able to get our animals in the chute, generally this might be at preg checking time or weaning, where we have those animals coming through the chute. This is a great opportunity for us to identify those females that are maybe a little thinner, or maybe our younger females that maybe need to be moved into a smaller pen or a different area to be able to increase that condition. Now, when we're thinking about increasing condition at this time, generally that's going to mean a 75 to 100 pound increase in weight per body condition. And so when we think about identifying those lower condition females at weaning, we have a very good amount of time moving from weaning into the next calving season. And so identifying those cows that need to be managed differently in terms of condition, we can set those females up for success moving into calving, and then ultimately identify those conditions again at calving time, and then when we get out into the breeding season. And so there's a few critical time points that we can really benefit from body condition score. That's going to be at weaning, where we can put on gain pretty relatively cheap and economically, and identifying those females that need that additional gain, and or maybe even managing those females that are a little fleshy, and how we might be able to strategize maintaining that weight over winter. The next group that we really want to identify is helping meet those target body condition scores prior to calving. And so when we think about setting our cows up at calving time, research has shown the benefit of having those cows in better body condition ultimately helps that resumption of estrus and helps with those immunoglobulin levels in our colostrum for those calves. And so if we can increase that condition, those cows will have shorter postpartum estrus intervals and resume estrus sooner than those cows that are in thinner body condition of 3s and 4s. And so being able to target those time points are really beneficial in how we can manage those females nutritionally and reproductively. Thank you for joining us at this week's Tailgate Talk, learning about body condition scoring. If you do have more questions related to body condition score, feel free to look at more of our learning modules at our beef.unl.edu website.